Hello everyone, in this episode of Motive Garage, our R32 GTR gets an interior makeover. Now, with our R32 GTR having received an exterior makeover thanks to 3M, Kudos Motorsport and Machina Magica, and also having an overhaul in the boot, a new engine on the way, new wheels, we decided the interior needed an upgrade as well. Now, a lot of 90s Japanese cars have reached the point where the interiors are just, well, very hard to make look good anymore. They're just getting old. The only way you're ever going to have an immaculate interior in a 90s car if it has just done so little Ks that it's a collector's item and worth way too much money to even drive or modify at all now. Now, about 10 years ago, you used to be able to do sort of an OEM refresh in your R32 GTR for a relatively good price. OEM parts were still relatively cheap, but now the problem is OEM replacement parts for the interior of a GTR are, well, they're ridiculous. A friend of mine on the weekend, as an example, bought brand new door trims for an R32 GTR for $800 from Nissan quite a few years back, and she had them sitting brand new in the garage, and she sold them on the weekend for $4,000 bucks. $4,000 you could literally get a custom retrim in Alcantara and full stitching of both door trims and the back trims as well. So now that the OEM stuff is so expensive, a custom retrim has actually become more cost effective when it's working on a 90s car to give the interior a bit of a birthday. Me personally, I kind of think, well, the car's modified. Why would I want a stock interior? Why not modernise a little bit, make it a little bit better? So when it comes to doing a custom interior, you can kind of go down a couple of different paths. You can go all in and just retrim everything. New carpet, new headlining, wrap the cage, trim the dash, trim every single thing in the car and spend over 10 grand. Or you can do what we did and be a little bit more selective about which parts of the car that you retrim, so you end up with a whole new look without breaking the bank. Now, there aren't a lot of custom trimmers in Sydney anymore, and we were only ever going to call one person, and that was Danny Cash from Concept Garage.
Originally, I was an aircraft engineer for Qantas, sheet metal and the composite components. Aircrafts really weren't my thing. Cars have always been my passion, so I just started doing bits and pieces from home. I'd say open probably would have been about 2012, probably about 8 years now. Definitely we're known for our composite work and our custom, like being able to do tricky one-off stuff with composites and fiberglass and stuff like that. If you're into the JDM scene, you would have seen a whole heap of our Evos, a stack of our S15s, Garage Mac. We just recently built two cars for Kia Australia. But yeah, definitely our wide body work and tricky custom composite work. All the carbon stuff, and pretty much being able to make anything from scratch more or less and have function with form. Where it grew to us doing interiors, paint, bodywork and all that was pretty much letting me streamline our schedule, sort of have control of the build start to finish. I can turn the cars over quicker and I can get a better result because I know what the next steps are. My background's engineering, so design's big for me. Whether for aesthetics or for function, it both. Like, it needs to work as good as it looks. Street Fighter was probably the first big one. Josh let us go pretty much nuts on his car, and he said, do whatever you want, top to bottom. War GDR, King 32s, hit strip again soon. That's been all redone by us. I reckon there's probably a good 10 cars in that top 20 street list. The approach on this was a budget-conscious, effective approach. The rest of the trim's actually pretty good. So I don't need to touch the dash, I don't need to touch the door cards, I don't need to touch all that sort of stuff. So we could get away with doing your inserts. You had brand new Velo seats, so we didn't even need to touch the outside of the seats to get an effective result. We just did all the cushioning on the inside, did the whole seats, did the door card inserts, made a shifter boot, made a handbrake boot. There are ways to get maximum visual impact and still be, you know, budget conscious. I think it's going to look good. It's going to be killer for the car. It's going to be spot on for what it actually needs. And the style is something that you've always really wanted. You've always told me I want diamonds. I called you a Lebo a few times, but you know, it is what it is. It's going to be effective. The colours are right. The colours, it's going to be timeless too, especially with this car. And I think when it's all pieces together, it's actually going to look like you've done a lot more than what we have.